How you doing? My name is Jerome. I am a black entrepreneur in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. I've been open for 23 years. At this location, 17 and a half years. I started out 14 years old. It just was difficult for my family to get haircuts at that time because of 6 boys, 2 girls. At the age of 14, my brother Marcus allowed me to cut his hair. This is where I am now because of that.
My name is Ezekiel, and I've been doing hair professionally about 30 years. You know, your parents are trying to save money and get around sending you to the barbershop on a regular basis. So you got those situations where your dad wants to cut your hair, your uncle wants to cut your hair, and they usually destroy it. My dad destroyed mine regularly, and one day I just took the same clippers that he messed it up with, and I worked on fixing it. And eventually I got good at fixing it. And a young man that lived in the co-ops that I grew up in, he was making money doing it. And he said he would talk to the guy who gave him a job. Back then you would have to put hours in under a master barber. Jerome and I, we come from that old guard, right? So Jerome used to be at a shop called Timbuktu when he was coming up, and he had elders train him. And it's invaluable.
Anytime someone needed a haircut, even if it's for a wedding, graduation, a party, those type of situations mean so much to me because now, as I see their family grow, they see my family grow. So, you know, they know my father, my brothers, my sisters, my mother. It's sort of a legacy, not just for me, but for them. You know, generational friendship, where most of the times, if I know, you're coming with your son, I will most likely have my son here so they could grow up together. They should know each other, not just me and you and not just me and your kids. I want you to know my kids, know my family.
I'm Terry Skinner. I've been in this neighborhood. I moved here from Harlem, and I needed to be around some kind of men. It was a house full of women, and they were Jehovah's Witnesses. So, that's rules on rules on rules. I was like a local kid on the street who actually was just coming from the wrong direction, and he said, yo, come on, I got you.
One thing he said, one thing he noticed, listen, I know what I have to do to establish myself. As he cut kids got older. Kids brought their friends. Kids had kids. He established himself to where he at today.
So I cut
18 years
a great-grandfather, grandfather, father, and child.
4 generations.
From one family, plus uncles.
We don't get a lot of attention as creatives, because some people tend to start looking at it as a transactional thing. It's not transactional. When you're good at it, you can do all manner of things, and it's creative. I do art. Jerome does art. He does art. This is art. You can call it some transactional thing, but this is not an assembly line. That's one of the things we like about this shop, is because we finally have a team where everyone is they operate on a high level.
Honestly, when I go to somebody else, I've been times when I went to other people and they don't look, and he could tell. Like if I go to somebody else and then I come to him, he's like, who cut your hair? Because he already know, like you went to somebody else, right? I'm like, yeah, he said, yeah, they did this, they did that, like I know. It's just the comfortability of knowing that, a person knows what you want. You don't gotta really say nothing. Just sit down in the chair, conversate, the haircut be over real quick, and that's it. A lot of us that come here, we knew each other for years. So it's not just like, just random people coming in. It's like we know each other's families. We go to each other's family functions. It's just more, it's bigger than just a barbershop.
It's my safe haven, it's my comfort zone, man. You know, there's a lot of things that you go through in life, and you know, not saying I'm not alive nowhere else, but you know, when something that defines you, who you are, it's hard to leave. It's hard to retire, especially when you're, you know, it means so much to the people that you provide the service to. It means more, you know, as much to them as it means to you. So it's comfort. It's a comfort place, man. At least for me.
Before people probably went to their psychotherapist and all that, they went to their hairdresser, they went to their barber. Any problem you might have, you bounce it off them first. Find out if you bug
Forgot
tripping,
about that.
You know, those are the kind of things that I cherish about that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, not that I always need somebody to talk to like that, but I could depend on him to give me honest opinion about something. So, you know.
And I think that's a part of our affiliation with Arthur Ashe Foundation, really, because he mentioned mental health, but our affiliation with the foundation is about physical health and mental health. And, you know, tapping into some of the skills that we already have and sort of, you know, using them together.
We teach and we have all walks of life. Like we have book smart, street smart, business smart, hair smart. Like you can come in here and just learn whatever you want to learn. And then we got people sitting in here that you might be sitting next to a DA. So for me to be able to be here and then know these people is like, how?
A barbershop is important to every community because it gives a person a space to be themselves, come and relax and get beautified in every sense of the word. One thing we do here, we do family and friends barbecue, customer appreciation day. Not just for clients to come through to get a haircut, but for the community just to come by and acknowledge us as a stamp, as a business.
And that's just one thing. That's just one thing. If we sit around and we discuss this in long term, you're gonna find that this shop is an anchor for a whole bunch of other stuff.
That's another way we have ventured out, not just being or giving haircuts, mentoring kids, just in how to prepare yourself, how to tie a tie, how to dress for an interview. We just recently did a seminar with Arthur Ashe on depression. You know, that's another way where, you know, if you're going through certain things, we have information and locations where you could actually, you know, go for help. Arthur Ashe gave us guidance, direction, material to hand out to clients. You know, those type of situations, you know, gave me security, gave me confidence to, you know, be able to get through the pandemic, be able to get through to some of my clients, letting them know that everything is gonna be all right, that everything is actually in good hands.
During COVID, it was more like loyalty over the money. My customers that weren't able to get to me, I made home visits. Some people, I'll give you this. No.
It's never about the money.
I wasn't doing it for the money. It was for the people I know, okay, this guy works this job. He has to look this kind of way. I'll be there for you.
My community is what kept me alive. Like, as far as the workers, everybody that works here is from this community. Everybody that gets a haircut, mostly is from the community, but also have served me in good times and in bad times. You know, support. Number one reason I have been supported by my community. That's why I'm, you know, so able to give back. That's why it's easy for me to give back.
Everything that's outside that door, everybody that walked past there back and forth to go to work, they watch me grow. And then I could be like, oh, I remember that old lady chasing her grandson up the block. Now her grandson is carrying a baby. And she's still here, we still here. I just like the fact that I can be somewhere and watch everything grow around me.